Hi guys, today we're going to look at the tangent or tan on your calculator to find a side. So on this one, when we're looking at tan, the tan of an angle is defined as the opposite, so it involves the opposite and the adjacent. So tan 40 in this case is equals to opposite divided by adjacent. And remember that the tan is a property of the angle, and regardless of how big this triangle will be, that answer opposite divided by adjacent will always give you exactly the same result. So if we looked at a question again, so I've got 20 degrees here, and that's 5 centimeters, and I want to find out how big that is there. I'm going to draw my algebra triangle. This is a TOA one. Now if I label my sides, this one is my opposite, it's on the opposite side to the angle, and this one's next to the angle, so that's adjacent. That's what those words mean. Finding the adjacent, so I'll cover over that. You can see that these are on different levels, so that's going to be a divide. So I'm going to say x is equal to my opposite, which is 5, divided by tan. Remember, tan is always linked to the angle. So onto my trusty calculator, 5 divided by tan 20 is equal to 13.7 centimeters. And again, the idea, we're not asked for accuracy. 3 significant figures is a key thing to know. So that's covered how we find an adjacent. If we're finding an opposite, so say this is 35 degrees, I want to know what that is there, and this is 6 meters. So again, straight to labelling, this is next to the angle, so it's the adjacent. This is on the opposite side to the angle, so that's the opposite. So drawing my algebra triangle, the TOA, I'm finding the opposite, so I would cover over the O, times drops in there, so I've got Y, which is my opposite, is equal to tan of 35. Remember, tan is definitely not a thing on its own, times the adjacent, which is 6. So tan 35 times 6 is equal to 4.20 units, meters, to 3 significant figures. So I've got space here, so I'm just going to stick one more question in there. I just wanted to just highlight this about labelling. Let's call that M. So here's the angle, here's the one that's next to it, so that one must be the adjacent in this case. This one's on the opposite of the side of the triangle, so that one must be the opposite. So if I draw my algebra triangle, my TOA triangle, I'm finding the opposite, so that's what I need to cover over. So my opposite M is equal to, these are on the same level, so the times in tan 50, that's what my T represents, times 9 tan 50 close bracket times 9 is equal to 10.7 . So this is the third video that I've done on something called trigonometry, and it's all to do with right angle triangles. And we had sine, which was opposite over hypotenuse, we had cosine, which was adjacent over hypotenuse, and this is the tangent, which is opposite over adjacent, and it creates the TOA triangle. Once you've got your TOA triangle and you've labelled your opposite and your adjacent correctly, remember on the opposite side of the triangle to the angle and next to the angle is key. We know the hypotenuse is the longest one. So once we know what the sides are and we know which algebra triangle we're using, it's just a matter of just sticking the numbers in. If you're not getting the right answers, please go on to Shift, Setup, and making sure you're on Deg for degrees, because that is a common failing of calculators, is that they can be changed, and particularly if you've lent your calculator to somebody who might do A-level maths, they might have had that on a different setting. Okay.